your socks! Hey!
The Lost Art with Andrew Cox podcast, now streaming on all major podcast platforms. A Till Valhalla Project ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast, that podcast giving a voice to our veterans. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're having a My Veteran Story with Michael Irey. I think that's how you say it.
That's right.
All right, awesome. But if you're out there and you're enjoying the podcast, then make sure you go to the website. That's the lostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's any way you can help us in getting our veteran voices out for all to hear, we would much appreciate it. Also, big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about that amazing organization, then go to their website. That's tillvalhallaproject.com.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
All right. Well, I got Michael here. Mike, how you doing?
Real good. How are you?
I'd be doing better, but I'm surviving it right now.
Yes, sir.
It's for whatever reason, everything has gone crazy on me today, so I apologize.
It's all right.
So, just like everybody, let's start at the beginning, right? Where did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about that, and then what drew you into military service?
Well, I had a really good childhood. I grew up in central Missouri, in a really, really small town, about 20 minutes west of Jefferson City. It's called Latham, Missouri, and not many people know about that, but it's a rural farm community. A lot of Amish community around there.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I said I had a really good childhood. I grew up directly across the street from my childhood school, elementary through.
Oh, wow.
It was a K through 8. So I walked to school every day, home every day, play with my friends and stuff like that. Interestingly enough, our next door neighbor was kind of controversial. He was a Grand Dragon in the KKK.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm not.
Wow.
You can't make this stuff up. Sometimes I think my life's a sitcom, but yeah, crazy enough, he in today's day and age, in the mid 90s, it was really strange to be able to grow up and say, I saw 3 cross burnings growing up. Just
Wow.
crazy stuff. So, my mom and dad tried to protect me from that and all that. So that's good. But like I said, I had a real good childhood. When I graduated 8th grade, I had the choice of 3 different high schools because we were right on the district lines for public schools. And so I went to high school. Directly after high school, I got an opportunity to play college basketball.
Very nice.
Whenever I started that, I decided as an 18-year-old kid that playing basketball and also going to school at the same time was too hard. So left that, started working, trying to be an adult, and stuff like that. But that was really hard too. So 20 years old, I thought that life was hard and I needed some direction and some structure and stuff like that. So walked in the recruiting business in Jefferson City, and first door on the left was the Marines. So
no kidding.
Yeah, that's where I ended up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, you are a recruiter's dream, somebody to just walk in and say, hey, I want to join.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. All right. So you walk into a recruiter's office, hey, I want to join. And from then, did you know what it was you wanted to do in the military?
I had no idea.
No idea. Okay.
Took the ASVAB. I knew that I didn't want I didn't want to be just just a grunt. I didn't want to do
Yeah.
that. But I knew that I needed some direction and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of left it up to them. Ended up as a 3043 supply Marine.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did supply and accounting for my tours.
Oh, okay. Very
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Well, all right. Now, did you have a history of people in your family that served, or were you kind of the oddball out and on your own?
Oddball out on my own.
No kidding.
My grandfather, my dad's dad, he was drafted and served in the Korean War. He was the only person in my family. He actually had a brother that served in the army as well, and I believe he was in the Korean War and the Vietnam War. But
Oh, wow.
those two were the only two. So a second uncle, my great uncle of mine, and my grandfather, but that was it.
Yeah.
After, and my dad was one of seven, so none of them had any military service. My grandfather actually didn't even talk about it with his kids or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was home on leave or around at holidays and stuff like that that he actually ever opened up and talked about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was
You
kind
know,
of the oddball out.
that's a perfect example of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And when you look at, my dad was kind of the same way. He would only tell goofy stories. He never really talked about his service and what he did. And so I missed all those stories. He opened up to me a little bit more once I became a Marine, very similar to how you were. But I figure for the families, at least, I think it's important to be able to document this. That way your family has it, right? And they can go back and be like, oh, this is what he did. That's pretty cool. So at least they know. But that's kind of why I started doing it. So thanks for bringing that to light. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right. So you take off, go to boot camp, Missouri. You went to San Diego?
Hollywood Marine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Me too. I was a Hollywood Marine too. So, okay. So you go to San Diego. What was it like? Okay. I'm jumping on the plane. I'm flying that way. I don't know much about the military. And now I'm in it, right? I'm going and it's no turning back. What's going through your mind and how was that for you?
So I was completely in the dark. I went to just like going to the recruiting office and stuff like that. I didn't do any research at all because I was a young, ignorant kid. So I had no idea. Didn't ask any questions, anything like that. I was just like, need some direction. I'm going to end up in jail or otherwise if I don't do something. So yeah, I jump on the plane. There was a guy that I met, in MEPS or something like that before I left that was supposed to be my battle buddy at the time, and yeah, but I didn't know that person at all. So I jump on a plane, first time traveling anywhere outside of the state of Missouri by myself as a 20-year-old kid.
It wasn't your first time on a plane, though, was it?
Not my first time on a plane, no, but it was my first time traveling alone.
Right.
So yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous. Just fear of the unknown type of thing.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Very eye-opening once I got there, for sure.
Yeah. So talk me through kind of your boot camp experience, kind of the good, the bad, anything you want to talk about, but kind of lessons learned throughout boot camp.
Okay. So I didn't have any trouble really in boot camp. I tried to just follow the rules and survive. So I know a lot of people they go in there, and I have buddies that are like, I had trouble with authority and would just push the boundaries. And so I wasn't like that. I tried to do everything they said in the time that they allowed, and just try to get by. I'm a pretty tall guy, so when they would do our nightly inspections or cleanliness inspections, whatever you want to call them, after showers and stuff like that.
Inspection, I think is what.
Hygiene inspection. Yeah, so there's three of us that were all like really tall, taller than all of the drill instructors, and it just so happened that the way they bunked us, it was that we were all right next to one another. So we had this one drill instructor every time would come over, and he was obviously from a big city, and a Hispanic guy, and he says he would always tell us to hit the switches, and we'd have to like hit, makes the noises and drop down to his level so he could inspect our fingers and toes and stuff like that. So that was kind of funny. I don't know. We didn't have anything crazy really happen. I mean, it's just the same old typical Marine Corps boot camp stories that you hear.
Yeah.
Everybody's got those drill instructors that come in and this squad bay is not clean enough. We got field day today, and all the different ways that they would just trash the barracks and stuff. There was a
Right.
couple times we had to empty a foot locker and go outside and fill it up with sand and bring it in and throw it all over everything, and then clean from top to bottom. And if we didn't do it right that time, we'd have to do it all over again. So it
Right.
was
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
Very cool.
An interesting story that happened to me in boot camp was my I went to boot camp just after the new year in 2000.
Okay.
And my birthday is the last couple days, the last day of March, last couple days of March, March 30th. So graduation day for me was March 31st, the day after my birthday.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And one of the games that the drill instructors liked to play while I was in, they wanted everybody to announce if it was their birthday or
Okay.
not. So I did that, just like everybody else did that. But at the time that I did it, they weren't. We had already done the Crucible, and we were already Marines.
Right.
So they couldn't initial train it. They couldn't ITS.
Right.
And if they did, they had to do it with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I announced, Private Irey, it's his birthday today, that type of stuff, and the drill instructor's like, "Oh, good," like that type of thing. And luck of the Saved by the Bell type of situation happened when the battalion sergeant major was walking in the hatch whenever I was announcing this to the drill instructors.
Yeah.
And the drill instructors were starting to get in my butt a little bit, screaming and yelling. And the sergeant major was like, "Hey, what's going on?" So I had to explain. And he asked me, he says, "So what do you want for your birthday, Marine?" And I said, "I'd like to see my drill instructors get IT."
Oh, are you serious?
I'm dead serious. And he did it.
No kidding.
He smoked them on the squad bay, in the squad bay. Just smoked them
Wow.
on the parade deck. Did that, but it was he turned it around where it was real motivating. Everybody
Yeah.
in there. We're in Charlie's,
Yeah.
getting ready to go practice, or I don't know what we were doing, but everybody ended up coming up and just getting nasty, sweaty, giving it to us. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool thing. So
wow.
yeah.
I wonder, do you remember who the sergeant major was?
I honestly do not. I
No.
don't remember. I think I have the yearbook thing that they do. My parents got that whenever I graduated, and he's probably in there. But at this point, I don't even know where that book would be or anything like that. I don't remember any names. I can remember one of 4 drill instructors' names that I had, and that was just earlier this year. Matter of fact, I looked them up on Facebook, and we're actually friends now. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. I got to do drill instructor duty, and I've met a couple. In fact, I've had one of my recruits on the podcast, and when I do my fireside chats, the battalion sergeant major at the time, he's on the podcast with me when I do the fireside chats with the crew. So he's part of my crew. So and it just happened to be that day. It was just the 3 of us. So it was him, the sergeant major, me, who was the drill instructor, and then the recruit. So all 3 of us were on the same podcast. It was pretty cool. You got kind of like that generational thing, I suppose. So
yeah. So, all 3 different perspectives, I'm sure.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. But okay, so you finish with boot camp, right? And you go off. Now, did you get boot leave?
I did get boot leave. Only 10 days. I did the minimum.
Yeah.
I wanted to come home and do some to help out the recruiters and stuff like that, but
yeah,
I also didn't want to delay my time anymore.
Right.
So yeah, just 10 days is all I did.
Okay. Now, did your family go to graduation and everything?
They did. Yeah, my mom and dad were the only ones, but yeah, they came out and watched, and
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it wasn't typical for my family when I was growing up to take like family vacations or anything. And I always just chalked it up because my parents couldn't afford it or something like
Yeah.
that. So not that I had I regret that at all or anything, but it's just
Mhm.
something that they didn't do a lot. But they did come
Right.
out to graduation, and it was I mean, I'm sure that was a big expense for them. And
Oh yeah,
but I was completely supported
that's cool.
in everything that I did. Yeah. So
Yeah, I like it. All right, so you finished your boot leave. Now, was there anything interesting that happened on boot leave?
no, nothing at
No.
all.
Okay.
Just tried to catch up with friends and
Yeah.
Um, for me, I think if I think back, I think it was more of my friends are still there doing the same types of things, so
Mhm.
I'm ready to go. I need to
Yeah.
go do something. So
Yeah. Very nice.
it was just
Okay.
a 10-day reminder of why I did what I did.
So that's good. Yeah, you got your reminder. So okay, you go over to MCT. So tell me a little bit about MCT for you. Was that a good experience?
MCT was harder for me than boot camp was.
Really?
Yeah, not because of what we were doing there, not the physical aspect, but the mental thing, because it was I guess it was just part of that unknown, like,
Yeah.
okay, why are they treating us like this, and
Hmm.
that type of thing. So I remember getting there, and it was just a mad rush to get out in the field and do all that stuff. And then at the end, when it was over, um, and we come back to the barracks, and they're like, okay, uh, remember what locker you used, and go get your stuff. Well, to me, it was all turned around, and it almost seemed like it wasn't even the same squad bay that I had put my stuff in, and I don't
Yeah.
know. I just seemed a little lost, and it went by so fast that yeah, that was that was a point in time. MCT was a point in time when I was really questioning if it was something that I really wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Something I try to maybe put out of my mind since
Hmm.
it happened. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just hard for me.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So finishing at MCT, you go to your MOS school. So where was your
Mhm.
MOS school?
North Carolina, Camp Lejeune.
Oh, okay. Okay. So it was on Camp Lejeune.
On Camp
Yeah.
Lejeune, yeah.
Okay.
hmm
All right. Very cool. Okay. Well, tell me about that experience and how long were you there?
It was about a month long.
Okay.
Supply and accounting MOS was about a month long. I know that. So there's two. I don't think there is anymore. There were two MOSs for supply when I joined up. One was a 3043, and that was like the administrative side.
Hmm.
And then there was a 3051, which was like the warehouse side, the
Okay.
physical inner uh,
Like where all the stuff
warehouse
was. Yeah.
inventory and
Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that. When the administrative side was more the paperwork and the
Hmm.
documentation. So um, the warehouse side, the 3051s were only there for a couple weeks. But
Oh.
we all went to the same school.
Hmm.
They were there for a couple weeks, and then they left, and then we were there for an additional 2 more weeks. And but it was okay. It was the first real experience of camaraderie with
Hmm.
as a Marine.
Yeah.
So me and I actually met a couple of the guys that I was going to be going after MOS school, going to the same duty station.
Okay.
Uh, after MOS school, we there was, I don't know, 5 or 6 of us that went to Okinawa, and
Oh wow.
we all went together, which was kind of cool. And we were close in MOS school, so it was different. I think not a lot of people do that or
Yeah.
have that many people that go to the same place
Yeah. For sure.
afterwards. Yeah, so
So while you were at Lejeune, did you go out? I mean, did you get like liberty on the weekends, go out in town and stuff like that?
there was we the month that I was there, I think was May time frame.
Okay.
And there was one holiday, there was one 96 weekend
Hmm.
while I was in MOS school, and we all decided that we wanted to go to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, nice.
So we all bought bus tickets to go, and we all get on the bus. And, I don't know about you, but I see memes and different things online where it says Marines can sleep anywhere, and
Yeah.
it shows all these things. So this was us. We get on this bus. We all bought bus tickets to go to Myrtle Beach. We get on this bus, and all of us fell asleep.
Yeah.
Some point in time, someone wakes up and says, "Oh, we're here. We got to get up." So it wakes everybody up, and we all get off the bus. We were 90 miles from Myrtle Beach and hadn't even made it there yet. But
Oh,
the guy,
no.
the guy that woke up was like, we're here. Like, and then in a mad rush, everybody got up, got our stuff, got our luggage, and we got off the bus. We're
Wow.
90 miles away at that point.
Holy cow.
And it wasn't a ticketing bus stop, so we couldn't buy another ticket to go finish the route. So we had to find a ride. We hitchhiked.
Are you serious?
We
Wow.
hitchhiked 90 miles outside of Myrtle Beach with a guy in a pickup truck. There's four of us Marines with all of our luggage in the bed of his truck, laying down, riding down the interstate to Myrtle Beach. So we did that. Yeah,
That's pretty wild.
yeah.
Good.
Needless to say, when 96 was over and we were getting our bus ticket back, somebody had to stay awake the whole time.
Yeah, to make sure.
To make sure we were actually home. So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Now that's a good experience, though.
Mm-hmm.
Especially nowadays, people don't really hitchhike much anymore.
No.
So that's a good experience to have. So okay, so you get orders to Okinawa. Now, was this going to be your first time out of the country?
First time out of the country, yeah.
Okay, and what was going through your mind as you're getting ready to do that?
Fear of the unknown again. Just never having traveled ever, and now here I am on a plane going to Okinawa, Japan, with a bunch of people that I met a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. The first 10 months on Okinawa was relatively, I would say, normal. It was but it was a different experience for me with the climate, because Central Missouri, we're not around water, we don't have beaches, anything like that. So we're there. The typhoons were crazy. I remember that.
Did you have typhoon parties in the barracks?
We had typhoon parties. Yeah, we had people get in trouble for jumping out windows and stuff, thinking that they were superhuman and could fly, and stuff like just ignorant stuff like that. Yeah. My time in Okinawa as a whole was difficult because the whole base was restricted. So I was over there in the middle. I got there in July of 2000. And this was during the time when there were other branches and other soldiers and airmen and Marines and all of this had international incidents with locals, and so they had restricted almost every base over there. So we had curfews when we would go out. You couldn't go out and stay out unless you had like a commanding officer authority or permission to do anything like that. So weekdays was 10 o'clock. If you went off base, you had to be back on by 10 o'clock. Weekends was midnight. Yeah, so there wasn't a lot of sightseeing. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of like visiting other just tourist stuff. There wasn't any of that really.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I was lucky when I was over there. It was pretty much wide open. You go where you wanted, when you wanted. And so I got really lucky on it.
We had he was prior enlisted, non-commissioned, brand new second lieutenant.
Okay.
That was kind of he was our supply commander over there.
Yeah.
And he lived there with his wife and kids. So like on holidays and stuff, he would have us over to his
Oh
home,
wow.
which was off base, and so that was kind of cool. And then he would make a point, knowing that everything's restricted and
Hmm.
there's not a lot to do, that he would make a point to make sure we would go and see things once in a while, knowing that, well, we still have to get back, but he would
Yeah.
allow us and accompany us and take us to, kind of make sure that everybody got to see some things and do some stuff over there. So that was kind of cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. Guys like that. Marine Corps needs guys like that. They're
Yeah.
going to take care of them and look out for their well-being and stuff. That's good.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, iPad's starting to fall over again. Sorry.
Uh-oh. So I was over there for 12 months. The second to last month, so the 10th month I was there, we did a Cobra Gold
Oh yeah.
training mission to Thailand.
Hmm.
So I got to spend 38 days of my tour in Okinawa in Thailand.
Nice.
So that was cool. We had 4 days of liberty before training and 4 days after. So we got to see
Nice.
a lot of Thailand. That was kind of cool. That was an eye-opening experience for a 21-year-old person for sure. So they floated all of the equipment over there to
Yeah.
Thailand. I was advanced party.
Okay.
So I was over there for a couple extra days before everybody. But then once we got all of the equipment off the boats and stuff, there was like a 16-hour convoy into the jungle where we were
Oh wow.
going to go train.
Yeah.
And word travels, so all the locals knew like where we were going to stop and along the way,
Oh
and,
right.
and even if it wasn't like a small town or a village or anything like that, they would set up their like tents or little huts or shacks or whatever wherever we were going to be, and then they would want to trade with us.
Oh
Uh,
right. Yeah.
so as a supply guy, you have access to everything.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. So I think it was the first day. We were several hours into this convoy, and we stop at this place, and these locals are wanting to trade with us, and I was handing out used ponchos
Yeah.
to people, and they were just beside themselves, like, this is great, like that type. And we can't speak to them at all. But this one lady we had happened to park under this apple tree, and we picked up 5-gallon buckets full of apples. We
Oh
had
wow.
them just in there with us in our
Yeah.
trailers. And we're just handing them out to people.
Yeah.
So this one lady, we handed her this 5-gallon bucket of apples, and she's like, "Oh, wait, wait here," and she leaves. And about 15 minutes later, she comes back, and she's tagging along 4 kids and wants us to take her kids with us
Oh wow.
because she knows that these Marines can provide better than I can. So
Yeah.
please take my kids and help
Oh
me,
wow.
like that type of thing. So very, very eye-opening experience going to a country like that as a
Oh
as a
yeah.
21-year-old. Yeah.
Oh man, that's pretty wild. I couldn't imagine. I mean, maybe you can, but I couldn't be in that situation. Like I can't provide for my kids, and I'm like
Yeah.
or wanting to give them to somebody. Hey, you can take better care of them, man. That's got to be heart wrenching.
Yeah. It's very, very eye-opening. And I think it's something good. It was something good for me to see
Yeah.
because, growing up and having essentially everything. Yeah, we didn't have the money to go and do family vacations all the time or do all this stuff, but definitely something that I wasn't ever um, forced to live with or see.
Right.
So yeah, very humbling experience for sure.
Wow.
When we got to the jungle, we worked directly with the Royal Thai Marines.
Mm.
Um, I gave one of them a Gerber.
Oh really?
And he brought back the next day, brought me back an entire uniform. So I have an entire Royal Thai Marine uniform from
Wow.
cover to blouse and pants. Yeah.
That's wild. Okay. Very cool. Now, when you were there, I've seen videos of the Thai Marines like out there, and they're like they make them eat snakes and all kinds of stuff. Did you guys get to experience all that?
Yes. So before we go over there, the Marine Corps, typical Marine Corps, did death by PowerPoint. So they're like, do this, don't do that type of thing. Um, fire watch was really interesting at night because they would pair two of our Marines up with two of the Royal Thai Marines. And again, I don't speak Thai. I don't know how to communicate with these people.
Yeah.
And I didn't know many other Marines that could.
Right.
But so one night I'm on fire watch with a buddy of mine and two of their Marines, and they're like, follow us, follow us. So we're walking around doing our patrols, and we go off into the jungle with them. And I don't know, 10-minute march through the jungle. And it opens up into this huge open field of marijuana.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So they were agriculture over there. It's just a part of it. They were growing it, and the Royal Marines over there can smoke.
Yeah.
On duty even.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they were chopping it down and stuffing plants in their bags and stuff and bringing it back, and we're like, we can't do anything like that. But yeah. So that was kind of crazy too to see all of that. It rained just about every night.
Mm.
And then during the day the sun would come up and it would be 100 degrees and just miserable. We didn't have running water in the jungle while we were there training, so every day we issued 6 1-liter bottles of water, and that was for drinking and for bathing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was my only experience in the Marine Corps in the field where we were like roughing it.
Yeah. And you were there, you said 6 weeks?
We were there. I was there about 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Wow. Now,
Yeah.
what was your experience when you got some leave, or not leave, but some downtime in Thailand? Was it one of those just crazy Thailand experiences? Did you see all kinds of crazy stuff, or how did that?
There's all kinds of crazy stuff. We went to like Pattaya Beach, which is, you can search that place online and see some pretty wild videos. And it's just like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had a buddy one time on leave. It was Liberty time. We were out there at the port. The currency over there is a baht.
Mm-hmm.
And they have people, and I think this happens in Mexico and other places too, but they have, people walking around with cameras, and they'll take your picture, and then they want to sell you the picture. So
Right.
there's people everywhere, 5 baht, 10 baht, like, give me these, trade with me, I need to make money type of thing. And they're just hounding you.
Mm-hmm.
They have people, like I said, I was there with a buddy of mine. This one guy walks up to us, and he's got a spider monkey with him that was doing tricks and stuff.
Nice.
And we stood there and watched for a couple minutes, and the guy asked my buddy if he wanted to hold it, and the guy's like, "Nah, he's gonna bite me." Like, I don't want anything to do with that. And the guy's like, the Thai person was like, "No, he won't bite. No bite." As soon as this monkey jumped on his shoulder, just took a hunk out of his arm.
Oh no!
As soon as it had, and he threw that thing down, and yeah, it was kind of a situation, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't.
There's all kinds of other like shows and places that you could go to that were, I don't know, probably not appropriate for a type of show like this, but
yeah. There's definitely plenty of places there like that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I always think of that. What was the one movie that those 4 guys they end up in Thailand, and then the one guy, he's like, "But did you die?"
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the movie.
I think it's one of the Hangover movies.
Yeah, Hangover. That's right. Yeah. But did you die? That's the only thing I could think of. Like when I think about Thailand, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, so you just said you spent a year in Okinawa. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, and so after your year in Okinawa, where did you end up going?
Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So there's a story behind
was that by
too.
choice?
Yeah, there's kind of a story for that too. So while I was in Okinawa, the Marine Corps is doing this huge push for retention. Mm-hmm. So while there, they brought over all of the, they used to call them monitors. I don't know what they call them now.
It's still the same.
So they brought the monitors over, and they wanted when the monitors got there, they said, "Well, we want to talk to all the lower enlisted Marines
Hmm.
because again, they're doing this huge push for retention." So they talked to all of us, E3 and below, and gave us the choice, like, okay, where do you guys want to go?
Right.
So when it was my turn to talk to the guy, he asked, well, where do you want to go? I said, well, I would prefer East Coast because it's closer to home. Well, where's home? I said, I live in Central Missouri. He goes, I can send you to Fort Leonard Wood. And I was like, seriously? Wow, that's crazy. It is unheard of for an active duty Marine to end up stationed at home.
Yeah.
And it's a 2.5 hour drive from where I grew up.
Wow.
I did my last 2.5 active duty enlistment at Fort Leonard Wood.
Wow. Now,
Yeah.
now was that attached to who were you attached to there?
It's just a Marine Corps detachment. There's about 1,200 active duty Marines there, responsible for the MOS schools
Oh, I see. Okay.
that the Marines go through
Hmm.
after MCT. So engineers are there, motor
Okay.
T is there,
Yeah.
MPs.
Oh, okay.
That's where all MPs go. That's Army included.
Hmm.
Um, and then NBC guys were
Oh, wow.
there.
Quite a bit there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it was a very small detachment. Like I said, 1,200 total
Yeah.
active duty Marines there. So
Wow.
yeah, I was there from July of 2001 until January of 2004, whenever I ended my first active duty enlistment.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, what were some of the highlights that you had while you were there?
Um, September 11th happened
Okay.
when I was there.
Do you remember where you were at when that happened?
Exactly. I was in the warehouse. We were painting a wall, and our um, the gunnery sergeant over our
Hmm.
section brought a TV out, and everybody just sat in the warehouse watched,
Yeah.
type of thing. It was later that evening when they all brought everybody together and asked for volunteers, and there wasn't a hand that didn't go up of
Yeah.
all of us there at the detachment. I don't think anybody there was ever deployed. They ended up coming back and telling us that they needed us to train. When they needed us to stay there, home station, and train the new Marines that were all going to be going over.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So all of the Marines that came through uh, came to Fort Leonard Wood after their MCT. They went through their quick, fast, and hurry in their MOS school, and then they were shipped out.
Yeah. Now,
So it was all.
did they change the length of the schoolhouses depending on what their MOS was to get them out quicker?
I think so. The only ones that they didn't um, were like the MPs and stuff. So MPs was a big deal during
Yeah.
all of that because there was a lot of secure. So they had to do their full time.
Right.
But it was rare to have like holding platoons in the schools um, for them to wait for a class to pick up, or
Mm.
and some of them they even recycled to do different MOSs because like NBC is not a wasn't real popular then.
Yeah.
So those guys would often they'd show up after MCT and then they'd be in a holding platoon for months waiting
Yeah.
for enough people to pick up to go through school. And a lot of them were given the option to
Wow.
recycle and do something else so they could get out of there.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I
Wow.
got the opportunity to be on an honor guard while I was at the detachment there at Fort Leonard Wood. And we traveled.
Okay.
It was
Hmm.
attached, border states around for different
Hmm.
Marines funerals and stuff like that. We did that. Yeah, there was a group of
Right.
us that did that.
So you like you're talking a rifle party and then folding the flag and those types of things for funerals.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. And that helped me later too because whenever I got out of the Marine Corps, I actually went to the police academy. I was a cop for 14 years,
Oh, wow.
and the local police department that I worked for here I was also on the honor guard there, so that helped
wow.
out.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, talk to me a little bit about doing the honor guard stuff, because that's uh, heart wrenching as well, right? Kind of like we were
Yes,
talking earlier, but not an easy task. I'll say that.
yes.
How was that for you?
So it's pretty eye-opening also. Really interesting to be able to go and connect with family members of people who um, ultimately gave the the sacrifice that everybody signs up for. I mean, that's the
Right.
ultimate thing. And there's a lot of honor there. And there's a lot of respect. And it was really interesting to hear their stories all the time,
Oh yeah.
and to see you kind of get to see the back end of that, and the respect and the honor that the families have for the people who gave that
Yeah.
for the country. So yeah, really interesting, real humbling.
hmm
Yeah,
I from my experience, like guys up at Eighth and I, right, when they go and do the stuff in Arlington and stuff like it, they're not always like talk to the families. They just kind of go in, they do their thing, and then they leave, right? There's only a select few that actually talk to the families.
yeah,
But being where you were and going out, I imagine you all kind of talk to the families, like everybody on the detail.
yeah. It was not uncommon for us to do the ceremony at the funeral or at the burial site usually.
Yeah.
Fold the flag, give the flag to the next of kin, and then all of us be invited to like a meal afterwards or something
Right.
like that. It was not uncommon to do that,
Mm.
and that was a. I don't know if they wanted us to do that type of stuff or not,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine the the benefit that there was for the Marine Corps for
Oh,
that.
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't uncommon for us to do something like that, and it gave all of us an opportunity to sit down and talk to the family members of our brothers who passed. So
Yeah, absolutely. That goes a long, long ways.
yeah,
When you look at one, just for the military in general, but to take the time to spend with the families and do those types of things. I mean, it's very impactful, very impactful
yeah,
to those families.
yeah. And it was so when I started doing that down in Fort Leonard Wood, I don't know if you're familiar with like Westboro Baptist Church in Kansas,
Yeah.
who was real controversial, and um, they would protest at the funerals, and so sometimes we would go and we would be a security detail
Really?
for
Wow.
these funerals instead of doing the actual military burial.
hmm
Sometimes there was enough of us. Some of us would go a couple days early, and just be a security detail,
Wow.
and work with local police departments and doing that, and
Yeah.
then we would also do the funeral graveside service and then all of that stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was an interesting time to do stuff like that.
Huh. Wow. Now, did you have any run-ins with that church or anything?
No, nothing where we had to actually intervene.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah. I mean, I got the opportunity to see them and protest, and people.
Yeah.
I was always disgusted by that type of stuff. So
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Now, did you see? Because there was a couple of motorcycle clubs that would kind of do security and stuff for those types of things. Did you see that?
yes. They were. Oftentimes, they weren't ever asked. It was just something that those clubs did,
Yeah.
which that's kind of cool. And a lot of those guys are veterans too.
Right.
Um, so it's just one of those things. Like, okay, well, we have more on our side than you have on your side. So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. Man, what a humbling experience you had there. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
But close to home. So, I mean, I imagine you go visit family pretty regular and stuff like that.
Just about every weekend. Yeah,
No kidding. Wow. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
very cool.
yeah. It was really a really unique experience. I don't know that I've ever spoken to any other active duty Marine that had an experience like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was I was stationed at home for my active duty military career.
Yeah, the only time I've ever seen that happen is somebody that grew up near a like on the West Coast or East Coast near one of the bases. That's
Yeah.
the time I've ever seen that.
And then, and a lot of times those guys are probably like brats. They come from a
From
family that, yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, what a unique experience, especially going back to Missouri, man. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then so you finished out your time there, so you're 4 years, right?
Finished out my active duty time. I did the inactive stuff where you would go and check in and still get points and stuff
Right.
like that. I only did that for a couple years because I thought, you know, when you get out, you're like, I miss it. I want to go back and do that type of stuff, but didn't necessarily want to go back to the Marine Corps. So,
Right.
um, I did the check-in thing for a couple years, and then I decided, well, I'll just sign a contract with the National Guard and
Okay.
do traditional guard stuff where it's 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the
Right.
summertime stuff type of stuff. So I did that.
And it was the same, same MOS.
Same MOS because I didn't want to have to reschool and do all that. At the time, I had married with my first wife and we had a child, so I didn't want to be away for
Yeah.
a long time and have to go to school for something else. So I did that. While doing that, I went to police academy and became a cop. So I was also a cop at the same time I was in the traditional guard. So
Yeah. So and then you where were you a cop?
I started as a police officer in Columbia, Missouri.
Okay.
University of Missouri's there.
Yeah.
So I did that for almost 4 years, and then I transferred to the Jefferson City Police Department,
Okay.
and I finished my law enforcement career there.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years total were you in law enforcement?
I did 14 years as a traditional cop.
Yeah.
After I left being a road cop, I kept my license and I was an investigator for the Missouri Attorney General.
Oh, wow.
I did that for a couple years. After that, I was an investigator for it's called the Office of Chief Disciplinary Counsel, and we investigate crooked attorneys and judges.
Oh, wow.
So I did that, and I'm currently an investigator for the Missouri Department of Transportation, and we do a lot of like internal affairs investigations.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what were some of the stories and things from when you were a cop?
So I always tell people I did 12 years in this military service. Never deployed, never shot at.
Yeah.
I was a cop for 14 years, and I was shot at 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So it was a lot different. I was in a lot more stuff
Yeah.
as a police officer than I was in the Marine Corps. But I chalked that up to never having been deployed and being stationed at home. So,
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade my service time for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it helped me grow up and be the person I am now. Which kind of brings me to what I'm doing also at my part-time job. I try to give back to vets, and I
Mhm.
worked for Brookside Veteran Services as an independent agent, and
Nice.
we help vets get the benefits that they deserve, mainly their VA disability benefits.
So is that's like a veteran service organization, Brookside?
Non-affiliated.
Okay.
Yeah, we're independent agents. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So and how does that work? If I'm a veteran,
Mhm.
is it free services when I come to you? How does that work?
It is fee for service.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but historically speaking, my experience and all of the clients that I have helped, we found that we can get higher rates in a shorter amount of time than a VSO. So,
No kidding.
mhm.
Do you think that's due to maybe, well, I'll just ask you, why do you think that is out of curiosity?
Um, I don't know.
You think
I
the
think it's
VSOs are like inundated with so many people that it's hard to like concentrate on a case at a time?
well, they have a lot going on.
Yeah.
I, I don't. I hate to speak bad of a VSO because if they're able to help a vet, then that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in my experience, and I would, we have over a 90% success rate. So
Yeah. Mhm.
I'll just, you get what you pay for type of thing.
Right. Oh yeah.
Um, Again, if a person has a VSO um, that cares about them and what they're trying to get and wants to help them, then that's great.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell a vet not to go and do that. Um, but you're gonna get what you pay for when you come to us. So we care. We're gonna listen to your story. We're gonna give you a consultation based on your story and what you want, and
Right.
so we can give you the best possible outcome possible.
Yeah. What would you tell vets as they're coming in and going to the VSOs or going to independent agents? What is some good advice that you have for those guys going and doing that?
I think the first thing I would say is call the VA
Mhm.
and tell them on the phone that you want to document your intent to file, and you should do
Okay.
that annually. Do that every year,
Yeah.
whether you submit a claim or not. You should do that because if you do happen to, let's say you get your intent to file in there in January,
Mhm.
and it's not until July that you get a claim submitted.
Right.
Well, in filing your intent to file at the VA, it's going to say, okay, well, I'm thinking about doing this. And then if the VA approves that claim and you win that claim, then they're going to give you the back pay to that date, the date that you
Oh,
filed your intent to file.
yeah, that makes sense.
So every year, and an intent to file is only good for 12 months. So every year, every vet should call the VA and say, "Hey, I want to document. I want to file my intent to file for the year."
Okay. Wow, that's pretty cool. I haven't dealt with that aspect of it. I haven't been retired that long, but when like I've still fall under it, and I can't remember what it's called, but you get 12 months after whatever to resubmit any claims and that type of stuff. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
still falling under that currently and have resubmitted some stuff, but um, so a little bit different in as far as that goes. But you're whenever so like beginning of well now I
Just
should probably call them and say, hey,
I would just say, because the intent to file is only good for 12 months.
yeah,
If you got out in September, then in September should be your beginning of your 12 months. So just
yeah,
know that an intent to file is only good for 12 months. And if
got
you're
it.
outside of that, then you're not going to get any back pay until they receive a claim submission or something like that. So
Okay, that's good. Good info to know. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Anything else on that side of the house? Or
Um,
you
I
probably have.
mean, it's easier just to, I would love the opportunity to help any vet
Yeah,
get their VA ratings. It's kind of my way of giving back because I didn't, like I said, I wasn't deployed.
right.
I got to do all my service time at home. So any way that I can help any vet get the benefits that they deserve, that's what I want.
Yeah,
So I have a passion for that. Yeah, I still have a full-time job as an investigator with MoDOT. I love what I do there too. So,
yeah.
but in my spare time, and I'm not going to let a lot of time pass. And uh, yeah, I have a passion for helping vets, so that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right, so you did what did you say? 14 years total on.
Hmm. Law
Uh,
enforcement, yeah.
yeah. All right, that's pretty cool. Now, and then talk to me a little bit about your National Guard experience, right? So you had your active duty with the Marine Corps. Now it's National Guard. A
Yeah,
little different. So
lot different.
a lot different. All right, so talk to me a little bit about that.
I remember my first drill.
Hmm.
Um, I had signed I didn't have any uniforms or anything like that. Show up to drill, and walk in, and everybody's calling everybody by first names.
Yeah.
It was wild to me. You have E3s and E4s calling E6s and E7s Bill and Tom, and
Yeah.
it was wild to me. Um, Everybody that I ever worked with, though, were really hard workers, and they got stuff done. So
Yeah.
we did one of my one of my favorite things that I did. We're pretty close knit in supply. The crew that I worked with, and we did one of our summertime annual trainings was in South Dakota in Custer State Park.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we pitched tents and set up a training simulation there for 3 weeks in the summertime. It was pretty cool. Um, yeah, and it was really nice to be able to after the Marine Corps and doing the supply job, and then getting out and kind of getting away from that, and then going back into the Guard, and in even only having to do it on 1 weekend a month or 2 weeks out of the summertime. It was really cool refresher to be able to go in and still be able to say, hey, I can do what I was trained to do. Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And it kind of gives you that dose of military.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah. I like it. Now, would you say your experience in the National Guard was a good experience?
Yeah, it was a good experience. Yeah, I don't have any complaints. Pretty uneventful.
Yeah.
They were still deploying some National Guard units here and there overseas.
Yeah.
But again, just luck of the draw. I never was in a situation where my unit had to go anywhere or anything like that.
Right.
So,
yeah. Very.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, that's pretty cool. I like it. Well, you got anything else you want to chat about?
I don't think so. I don't have any,
No.
no. I'll leave you some contact info, and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'll
yeah.
put whenever it posts, I'll put it in the comments or whatever. That way, if anybody has questions, they can reach out to you. And
Yeah, and I'll send you electronically send you my business card and stuff like that.
okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, sounds good. Well, hey, man, when we draw to an end at every podcast, I always ask, okay, you got some words of wisdom for everyone, or any advice, or anything else that you want to cover?
Yeah, I'll say, I gave the words of advice with the intent to file, so I think that's really important. I also want to encourage anybody, any vet, even if your service was uneventful like mine, or you were only a National Guard member, because a lot of these guys, veterans are humble,
Yeah,
and a lot of times it's like I have run into people who say things like, well, I really didn't do anything in the service. I don't think that I deserve that type of stuff. Well, I can't disagree more.
yeah,
You signed on the dotted line. You at the time signed a document saying that you would give your life for your country. So you are eligible, and you are worthy of the benefits that you deserve. So um, if you have any kind of service related disability of any kind, even if it's something as small as tinnitus,
yeah.
um, look me up, like, let me help you out.
That's awesome.
Uh, uh, you know, in some cases, VA disability ratings are they're life changing.
Oh
So,
yeah,
yeah, um, if you get high enough percentage, you get free health care. So,
mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, it's a monthly benefit that you deserve. So, yeah, I'll just leave that. So, if
Okay,
you have something or you want, I encourage you to reach out.
awesome. All right. Well, hey, Michael, thank you for doing this. Thanks for coming on. I know you were a little nervous, but you did fantastic. So I don't know why you were nervous. It's just a conversation, man. So, but thanks
Yeah.
for coming on and doing this. Truly appreciate it. If there's anything that I can do for you at any point in time, just reach out, and you got my contact info as well. So
Perfect.
all right. With that, to all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, you need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on the chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know Michael cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies that you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. And if they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, Michael, one last time. Thank you to all the listeners. Stay motivated. Change your socks.
Ton Tavern, birthplace of the Corps. We as Marines hold this history close to our hearts. Wouldn't it be spectacular if the establishment was born again? The Ton Legacy Foundation, a nonprofit 501c3, is taking the task and is looking to the Marines to once again save the day. Help the Lost Art podcast in raising funds to help get the Ton built once again, only 100 yards from the original establishment in Philadelphia. We are looking for Marines to donate $25, representing the upcoming 250th birthday of the Corps. Spread the message and help establish the Ton, a place for Marine brethren to gather and remember our historic beginning. Go to the Lost Art GoFundMe page and donate today. The Ton Legacy Foundation, reestablishing our birthplace.